动物也会有情绪吗？
Animals sometimes form the most unlikeliest of friendships, like a goat and a camel, a dog and a tiger, or this cat and bear who lived together for 10 years at the Berlin Zoo. And when the 42-year-old bear finally died of old age, her companion refused to leave her side. Was this cat mourning the loss of a friend? Or do humans project their emotions on animals a little too much? We might not have enough scientific evidence to prove that animals truly do grieve. But if you're one of those seeing as believing types, then have a look at what these crazy creatures do when someone close to them passes away. Corvids are a family of birds that include crows, ravens, jays, and magpies, and they're all incredibly smart. Birds of this family have not only demonstrated self-awareness and tool-making abilities, but their brain-to-body mass ratio is only a little lower than that of humans. So do they grieve like humans? Magpies have been spotted laying grass next to a dead magpie or burying its corpse in twigs. When a crow dies, several others will gather around the body and squawk loudly, as if to say their final goodbyes. But most ornithologists believe that this is to alert other crows of potential danger close by. Magpies hold burials, crows give eulogies. In the summer of 2018, animal lovers across the world were shocked by reports of an orca who carried her dead calf for 1,600 kilometers over 17 days. Orcas are normally social creatures, but this 24-year-old female swam apart from her pod, carrying her calf's body along with her wherever she went. Scientists were at a loss to explain this behavior, and many simply called it a tour of grief. The orca story might sound like an anomaly, but researchers off the coast of Greece witnessed a striped dolphin performing a similar ritual. An adult dolphin circled the dead body of a younger one, trying to keep it afloat, perhaps even trying to bring it back to life. But elephants take animal bereavement another step forward. They tend to commemorate the loss of a herd member by inspecting the body, scattering its bones, or rocking back and forth beside it. This would otherwise be unusual behavior for elephants, since their size requires them to feed for 20 hours a day in order to get enough nutrients. Could grief cause them to deviate from their normal routine? As the closest relatives to humans, it's probably no surprise that primates seem to mimic some of our mourning practices. Chimpanzees have been spotted several times cleaning the bodies of their dead relatives. As social creatures, chimps continue to feel connected to a loved one even after it dies, so they respect the body as if it were still living. Other primates called podos will sometimes go without eating just to leave food out for a dead companion. And, similar to whales and dolphins, some primates will carry the bodies of their dead children, unable to come to terms with their death. In one tragic example, a mother carried her baby for 68 days before finally laying him down to rest. As humans, it might be hard to view these examples as anything but grieving. However, the scientific community remains unconvinced without sufficient evidence. Nonetheless, a case is building. In 2005, behavioral ecologist Anne Ing studied chacma baboons on a reserve in Botswana. She noted that the baboons in her study tended to show higher levels of stress hormones for about 2 months after losing a loved one. So is this grief, or is it something else? We seem to have more in common with animals than we thought. If that's the case, then we have to remember that everyone grieves differently, so it might be some time before we determine whether an animal is mourning or sending a warning. What's left to be learned is what keeps crazy creatures fascinating.